So first, let me just briefly introduce the Center for Economic Growth. We are based in Abu Dhabi in partnership with INSEAD. We were just founded about 6 months ago. And the focus of the center is really to give voice to the private sector. We're funded solely by the private sector in the region. And the idea is that we want to create a platform for dialogue for the private sector to have a bigger voice in issues such as what we're discussing today. Investment climate, business reform, opportunities in the region in terms of developing the private sector and moving away from a state-led model of economic growth. So in terms of what I'm going to talk about today, very briefly, it's slightly, I wouldn't say off topic, but issues within the MENA region that I think are very pertinent in terms of looking at the business climate, investment reform, registration reform. As many of you may know, and I will speak specifically about the region, and actually a lot of what I'm saying is more focused on the oil importers versus the oil exporters, so non-GCC countries, but some of the points are relevant. We have very, let's say, bloated budgets in most of the MENA region in terms of the ability for the governments to fund domestic growth as well as create jobs and support investment in their countries. So therefore, we really need to look towards the private sector in this region to be an engine of growth. Historically, it has not been the main engine of growth in terms of GDP, but there's a realization, I think, especially after the Arab Spring, that we need to be focused on how the private sector can be the engines of growth across the region, from North Africa to Levant and in the GCC. One of the major issues, which I'm sure you're aware of, is unemployment in the MENA region. So if we look at particularly youth unemployment, it's around 30% in the MENA region. Again, very differing numbers. When you look at GCC, it's much lower. But if you look at the rest of the region, we're talking about 100 million youth that are out of jobs.